tailgate show, the tailgate show, the tailgate show. And you say Shot City, the tailgate show, the tailgate show, the tailgate show. And you say Shot City, the tailgate show, the tailgate show, the tailgate show. And you say Shot City, the tailgate show, the tailgate show, the tailgate show. And you say Shot City, the tailgate show, the tailgate show, the tailgate show. And you say Shot City, the tailgate show, the tailgate show, the tailgate show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Tailgate Show. 29-13 ass whooping by the Vikings, but end of the day, it ended just the way we wanted it to in a sense, man, because this offseason just got a little more interesting for us. Somehow, the Texans came through, and holy crap, Lovie actually beat the Colts. Hey, he beat the Colts for us, all right? It happened a lot later than we wanted it to, right?
What a
Lovie's
drive.
Lovie's the most clutch Bears coach we've had in 2 years.
I mean, it was amazing, right? They get the touchdown at the end. They go for the 2-point conversion, stick it, and they hold the Colts with 50 seconds left or something like that, man. So, yeah, as bad as the season's been, at least we get the reward of having the number one pick overall in the draft. Yeah. I mean, I felt like a fan that was needed so many things to happen for my team to get in the playoffs kind of vibe, but it was for the number one draft pick, right? And I'm scrolling back and forth like crazy, bro, but like, yeah. I mean, at least we have some hope this offseason for a rebuild. What better way to start than having the first pick in the draft?
1947, did they say?
I believe so.
So that's what, 75, 76 years?
We've had the pick, twice, and one of them chose to go become an actor instead of joining our team.
Yeah, but that was back in so that draft was actually held in 1946 and the 1947 draft. But
okay,
that was also in a day where they barely paid the players anything, man. Like they had full-time jobs.
47, you're talking World Wars.
Yeah.
So,
man,
I don't think I've been more excited all year than the end of that Texans game.
I know.
I was really committed to the tank at that point in time.
I yelled so loud I thought I was going to lose my voice, man.
I did too. I thought he caught that one pass and was like, no, incomplete.
Oh.
Fuck! And then
Biscuits, you got the jersey, huh?
No, I got the number one jersey. It's actually not Fields though. It's just someone got me a number one jersey. But I felt it was appropriate for the first overall pick.
Sorry, go ahead, Jay.
CNA can come open late, and then on the 2 conversion, he bobbles it. He goes all the way down to his damn ankles, catches it, and I was like,
yeah,
we're actually going to get the number one pick. Lovie Smith's coming through in the clutch.
It's crazy.
Hell
right?
yeah.
That was crazy.
After we just had that whole conversation about Lovie for half the night before, right?
Right.
It's just funny, man. But we're here.
Mid. So is Lovie Smith mid? Can we say he's not mid now?
I don't think he was mid here. I'm not comparing him to the rest of the NFL. Our franchise history, I think he was a very good coach.
I think we would kill for Lovie Smith since Lovie Smith's been gone.
I wouldn't kill for the lack of offensive mind running the offense that Lovie could never seem to really nail down.
I mean, I did go back and look. In 2006 and 2010, we had top 5 offenses in points scored both those years. It just so happened that those were the only 2 years that we had offense out of the 9 years he was here.
What years were those?
2006, we were with the Rex Grossman, Thomas Jones Bears, and then 2010. And we were on track to be a top 5 scoring offense the year that Jay threw that pick and got hurt. I think it broke his thumb on the Chargers game.
Right.
I think at that point we were number 4 in points scored. I mean, there was times it just was never consistent.
Right.
So what did you guys think of the game itself today? I mean, it was nice to see our first string defensive line just get smoked the whole game. Right?
Yeah, they were showing effort. It's just they were also showing the fact of the lack of talent this team has. I mean, they don't get consistent pressure as far as the D-line. It was nice to see some consistent quick game, even though neither quarterback was impressive in the whole scheme of things. But at least there were guys involved. I guess it wasn't anything. I mean, Velas had a game himself compared to what we've seen.
It was impressive the way he stayed in bounds.
it's impressive the way he's actually at least progressing.
Right. Justin Jones actually did set a personal best for tackles for loss for his career.
Oh,
And
okay.
That's
Wow,
saying...
Pony coming out of the woodwork.
Damn.
No. That's a Joniak I was on the road.
Stats and Pony.
So
my days here are numbered.
No, they are not. You're well entrenched, my friend. But yeah, Joniak actually said that on the radio broadcast. So I was kind of driving back and forth. So
I thought it was
good
interesting
for
the
him,
way they rotated guys. Were you all surprised by that? That Tim Boyle got a little bit of run?
You got to, right?
He's like, God, Jesus, how the fuck are we talking about this?
No, I mean, it is kind of weird, right? Like, you think that would have happened, and you normally bring quarterback in at the end and keep them in. So I guess it's a little bit odd, but it was pretty much shit either way, right?
Right.
Like, it was...
Jari Carter played, I think, and...
I just thought, at first, when I saw Boyle come on the field, I'm like, oh, damn, did Peterman get hurt? I just thought it was odd that they decided to rotate those two guys as if they wanted to get a look at both. If there's a chance to be here next year, or... I was
considering they were just watching the score of the freaking Texans-Colts game, and they're like, all right, let's throw a Boyle bomb.
Oh, here we go.
You know what I mean, for the interception, so... But, yeah, I mean... Wyatt brought up Monty in the chat. This could have been Monty's last game as a Bear.
Oh no! Hard. What are we gonna do without your 21 yards?
I don't know.
Sorry, I'm reading text messages that were sounding choppy.
Sorry. Damn, we didn't have to call me out.
No,
it seems a little choppy. No.
No, it seems fine to me on my end. But
oh shit. Okay. I'm just saying it's not that I'm not a fan of David Montgomery, and yes, he runs hard. Yes, he brings a certain leadership aspect to the team, but I mean, he has one game this season over 100 yards, and it happened in week 2. I do think Herbert's a better fit for the system, and as much as I do like David Montgomery the person, I just think we need to get a little bit more explosive back there. In off season, where there's going to be short on free agent wide receivers, and the draft is no sure thing. That's a position with a lot of depth in free agency that we can add to and just get a little bit more dynamic back there. I'll toss it to you guys and your thoughts.
All day Ebner ain't it.
No,
but
he's not it.
If you don't shore up your old line, if you don't upgrade a lot on the offensive line, like Monty is a good he's good at blocking. That's the one thing Herbert really needs to get under his belt because he's a liability as a blocker. But it was in all fairness to Monty too, the way Justin was running. I mean, God. Monty's a guy that gets better with more carries. So
that's true. That's true.
This
and to your point, he only had 7 today, so that's true.
Right? Yeah. I mean, they're running him like Nagy did, but like then he's watching the quarterback take the runs that he could potentially have if things were working correctly. So he could have had a much bigger season if it wasn't for what we had to do to not get Justin killed, basically.
And if the offensive line could run block, that also might help.
But so some other things in the game, like I said, Velus, that was impressive. I'm glad that he's showing more impact. No, it's not like top of the league performance, but for him, he's at least trending in the right direction, which is important because he had some issues that some guys, it would ruin them, right? The drops. Some guys don't get over that shit. Yeah. Like he seems to have bounced back and something's clicked. So that's a positive because he was drafted fairly rich, I think, for who he's been this season, but it's good to see him contributing.
Are you worried that it's clicked with Nathan Peterman and not Justin Fields?
No, yeah, him and Velus were getting going the week before. I mean, not wanted to be, but he had a big catch Fields.
Yeah, I mean, Fields threw him that 40-yard bomb, Jer. I mean, he had, one catch today and 1 carry?
Yeah, the carry was explosive.
The carry was the touchdown, yeah.
Not to mention,
staying in bounds.
That game was cold as hell.
Right.
So anyway, I mean, we were dogging on him most of the season, so it's good to finally see him turning in a different direction.
Yeah.
Because the more the merrier at this point, right? We need guys to contribute. So, good game for Velus. Cole was Cole had a pretty good game, all things
Oof.
considered.
Yeah,
Dude's a fighter.
absolutely.
He needed 10 more. He needed 10 more catches to get to 60. Just didn't get there.
Again,
Oh, is that the over/under that we set at the beginning of the year?
He
60.
got to 50.
I mean, in all fairness to Cole Kmet, it's not even his fault that he didn't hit the 60.
No.
If we're being
No.
honest here. I mean, come on.
I mean, if we did a Monty run attempt projection in the beginning of the season, we'd be way the fuck off.
Way off.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
True
so.
that.
But I'm trying to think of some other positives here. I believe.
You worried about Brisker?
Greg Stroman had an interception. That's not a name that I bring up today. So.
Former Washington Commander. I'm not worried about Brisker. He definitely hit a little bit of the rookie wall here last couple weeks, but I think overall he's going to be a solid, fine player.
He nearly got a pick earlier in the game. I do remember that. But
No.
I think for a rookie to step in without the front seven that needs to be in this defense, and that really hasn't been, and we've had linebacker play that's been impressive at times, right, with
and the safety
Sanborn and
option-
stuff. But as a whole unit, the defensive line and the linebacking core has been subpar. So the fact that we saw the bright spots from Brisker we did this season is a good thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think we found the perfect complement safety for Eddie. So I'm good with
I agree.
the season he put
This
out there.
defense missed Eddie Jackson more than Eddie Jackson made himself some money by not playing. I believe. Just
You mean
because-
the defense?
Yeah,
and
that took me a minute to
It
digest.
took me a minute to process the way you said it, Jared. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think I don't know if necessarily he's made himself some money, but I definitely think he showed that his stability in the secondary did go a long way.
Absolutely.
But I still think that's probably a guy they maybe look to reduce that cap figure in 23. I know we've talked about it in the thread multiple times about is he a cap casualty. I think Diddy kind of nailed it. Having Brisker finally as the complement to Eddie Jackson, and then Jared, you tying in the fact that in his absence these last couple of games, we've kind of seen the impact that he brings.
Yep.
With the cap space available, he's 100% a guy that's coming back, and I would just pay him at that point, or even look to extend him.
How many games did Eddie play?
Was it 12 total?
I mean,
maybe that's
the
where
only-
he loved it, hopefully.
The only way I guess you could quantify the fact that he made more money is that if you divide his salary by 9 games, Jared, I guess, because he didn't play the full season or 11 or whatever it was.
His,
I don't.
There you go.
Well, no, I don't think he earned more money because he's already
Started
one of the
12
highest.
games.
He's one of the highest paid safeties in the league now. So
Yeah.
Right, that's true.
I don't, and he's still under contract. So that in
Okay,
general
maybe
kinda
I
thing.
should have stated his value. Maybe we as fans understated his value, and now
Well, no.
we really see his value.
No, Jared, I think you're right though. No, in a sense, like prior to this season, Eddie Jackson was sort of trending downwards, and I think this season
he
of
turns
play,
stuff around. Yep.
correct, yeah. So instead of looking like a cap casualty this year, he's looking like a guy that will be one of the few remaining holdovers from this defense.
I mean, I think Eddie was the most improved on this team
I do agree with that.
from the season before, anyway.
The whole, most improved holdover.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that overall. Yeah,
I mean, he was on pace interception wise to be considered for the Pro Bowl if he kept trending in that direction. He was hitting hard. He was taking on the responsibility of being a captain, stepping up. He found he kind of things around off the field. Right, he had some shit happen that threw him off. I think it's been nice and refreshing because we're seeing the Eddie Jackson that we're
used to
waiting to see. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So the fact that he bought in, and this is a more physical, more demanding type of defense here. I think it's I'm happy with what Eddie put out there, and I think that he deserves to be kind of commended for getting himself right. And
Yeah.
I think he had a pretty good season until he got hurt. So
And he's still not a great tackler, but you at least saw the effort this year. He was willing to put his hat on an offensive player this year, where before
Not
he was
just-
sort of give a little shoulder bump.
Not just that, you see him putting guys in position to make plays. That's an understated thing. Where guys are kind of, I think you saw it today with Elijah Hicks, kind of scattering or scammering back, and just not being in position and not knowing where to go at times. And
Yeah.
We don't have a Slack channel, so I'll just let you in on some inside discussion. The comment was made in our chat today that Elijah Hicks is a future star. Can we delve deeper into that evaluation? Or?
I think you guys both know that that's an inside joke.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it at that.
We also heard Claypool sucks,
Oh,
and it wasn't by anybody on the screen right now.
So let's talk about that. So now that the draft order has been finalized at our portion of the league here,
Oh god, dude.
32nd overall. How do you guys feel about that now?
When the trade went down, I was happy, especially the fact that we got him not to get to the Packers, right? Like, at that point in the season, I was fine with it. Man, like the crystal ball, bro, yeah. That's almost like a late first rounder now.
Yep.
Essentially, value-wise, it's not too far off the last pick in the first round. You know what I mean? Like,
well, since Miami got stripped of their first round pick this year. You know, there's only 31 first-round picks. So technically it is pick 32. Any other year that would be a first-round pick value-wise. But I still, you know, in hindsight, yes, the value trade-off has been horrible. But I still think at the time, Poles did make the right decision. Looking at a very weak free agent class, knowing that you had to somehow add another weapon for Justin Fields and his development. And Claypool had 2 years prior to this year of 800 plus yards, had like 10, 11 touchdowns as a rookie, had shown those flashes. I think it's not unfair to say that he would have provided you more production right out of the gate than a rookie second round pick. And at the time, I did not disagree with it. And obviously now it looks a lot worse, but another full off season with him here. I think maybe we're talking about this maybe being a little bit less of an overpay, albeit probably still one.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get a rookie wide receiver at that spot, that the draft spot we would be in the second round to come in, have NFL experience. I think there's still a shot for Claypool to be a very productive receiver here. Wide receiver 2 is my ceiling on him, but that's fine, right? Because that fills a void.
2 for 29.
I agree.
And I think Mooney could be special if we have an O-line that can hold up.
Special, really?
Special, yes, I do. I mean, like
yes. The window special, or
so, like wide receiver 1 type special.
Wide receiver 2A, but 1 here.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? It'd be much productive if we allow a little more time.
Oh, vice versa too. I mean, it's let's be real. It's not just Clay. I don't want to be an excuse maker, but it's not just Claypool here. I mean, he came into the season, you know, halfway through. The amount of times that we actually pass the ball are few and far between. The line can't hold up enough for these guys to get open at times. He doesn't have anybody on the opposite side of the field that's taken the pressure off of him now that Mooney's been hurt. So in theory, with Mooney coming back healthy, maybe that'll take some of the pressure off of Claypool. It's just a variety of factors as to why it's not worked out for him and that production's not there. And again, I want to wait and see with a full off season, and how much better we get up front to really judge that trade fully.
And we can make jokes about Claypool not picking up the system and stuff, but at the same time, like Getsy did say when he got this job, that he'd be coaching to his players' strengths. If this is Getsy coaching to Claypool's strengths, I don't feel he's succeeded with that.
I think you're right. Diddy.
I think you're correct too, and I think the quarterback position hasn't helped him out necessarily either. Regardless of what position. You know, who was in that position? Peterman,
I mean, he did have a lot of production with Roethlisberger, but
yeah. I mean, is Justin safe? You got the number 1 pick. You're the GM. Do you feel like Justin Fields is a safe QB1 starter?
Did you want to go first?
Well, no, I mean, I don't know. For me, Justin is definitely, he's still my dude, right? I still think he can get better. I still think that he has more. He has the arm talent. He has the smarts.
But did you watch the Indiana game?
Oh God, Jared.
I had
No,
to go there.
he's
I'm
and
just
he's a
like,
dynamic athlete, and I think the fact that he's put that out there is a good thing going forward because now teams aren't going to be able to press as much. They're going to be a little more aware that this kid can break one, right? So
Right.
I think everything's there for him to develop as a passer. I think it's still worth trading back in the draft, keeping Justin. I think Justin has a ton of potential. I don't think that we're at that point right now where we feel like he's never going to develop as a passer. There's too much. Even in college, he was a good passer. There's too much still there that we know he can do that. So if Poles were to feel that Bryce Young was the most generational thing he's ever seen, it's kind of wild because how many times is a GM going to be in this position if Fields wasn't his guy, this was on a trial basis, and he feels that Bryce Young is everything he wants in a quarterback. I personally don't want to see it. I don't want to watch another quarterback try to develop. I think Justin is going to potentially, if he develops on the path that everybody thinks he's going to, including myself, he could be a top 10 quarterback in this league. But I don't know. I mean, nobody has a crystal ball, right? Bryce Young could be a bust too. We've seen this scenario before too. You know what I mean? The first quarterback taken.
I think the parts around Justin don't help. You know what I mean? It's like you don't have a very good offensive line.
I think
Your
for
receivers are, and believe it, you can say what you want about potential, but really right now they're mid. That's a mid to lower card receiving core that we're going to trot out there again next year because EQ got paid and Claypool's going to get paid, and you've already got. He's already under contract.
Well, Claypool, yeah, but he's on a rookie pay scale, so his contract next year isn't that big. I think the bigger decision is based on what you've seen this year. You have a limited window to evaluate him and decide if you're going to pay him big money.
Right, and Byron Pringle also is under contract.
And I also think we're impatient, right? We just want that quarterback, and
absolutely,
we don't even we just want that quarterback, and the organization has failed Justin. All right, so it's not all on him. But I thought he would be a guy that, regardless of what was around him, and it's almost an impossible feat. But I thought when we drafted him, this was that kind of guy that could complete that impossible feat and make the offensive line better and make the wide receivers better, like make names out of people that you
rise above the shit.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be that.
He has, though,
I thought
as a runner.
Sure, but even with, I thought despite Nagy, he would have right out of the gate, and we want it so bad that I think sometimes we also become impatient. Justin's still young.
Yeah,
he's still got a ton of potential. I don't know if you reset the clock on developing another QB and moving on from Justin. I don't think it makes sense. I just don't. So I think we get a king's ransom for that pick, bro, and just hopefully Poles puts in work.
I'm pretty much with Diddy on this one. I mean, go ahead, Jer.
You're the Houston Texans. Are you moving up? Or are you staying put?
Now we're talking about Texans. So let's go back to, has Justin done enough, or are we taking a quarterback? So I'm just saying, I think regardless of how far along you think Fields is in the passing game, and make no mistake, he does need a lot of work. Yes, the Bears need to get better around him, but Justin needs to get better as well. I think he has shown all correctable, and I think he's shown enough flashes this year where you should at least explore that a little bit further. But even if you don't think necessarily Justin's going to get there as a passer, I think you take a look at this roster. We are dead last in sacks given up. What's the count now? 60, 61 after today?
It was 55 going into today, and I don't have today's numbers.
Justin broke the single season sack record on being sacked.
Well, that was for the Bears.
No,
his sack rate was higher than David Carr's.
Yeah, Carr was in the 70s.
Sacks.
Yeah, Carr was in the 70s, but the percentage of games played, they broke it down now.
As opposed to, and how many dropbacks as well.
Right.
But so regardless if you think Justin's going to get there as a passer or not, I think you look at this roster and where it's at, and you're dead last in sacks given up, and you're dead last in sacks along the defensive line. You need to rebuild both of these trenches, and I do not understand what good it does from a roster building standpoint to take a high round, first round pick, top 5, and draft a quarterback and dropping him in this situation. In the last 10 years, here are the quarterbacks drafted in the top 5. Blake Bortles, Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, Mitch Trubisky, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Tua Tagovailoa, Trevor Lawrence, Wilson, and Lance.
Sounds like scouting's getting better, doesn't it?
So what it tells me is everybody, the arguments always is well, when's the when are you going to be up there again? You need to pull that trigger on if you want to get a top flight quarterback. Patrick Mahomes was drafted at what, 10? Josh Allen was drafted, I believe, at 6 or 7.
Yeah, but if you listen to the names that you just rattled off, right, as you went further along, the more consistent they got besides Wilson. So, like,
I think the
scouting's getting a little more consistent at quarterback is what that's telling me a little bit.
I think there's 2 guys on that list, Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence, unless you want to include Kyler Murray, that are good quarterbacks.
Jared Goff's a good quarterback.
Jared Goff's a good quarterback, yes, but would you consider him a franchise quarterback? Is that Jared Goff's? I don't think a guy that
I think
Detroit's going to build around long term.
I think good quarterback that can start and be consistent. Getting that out of the draft is a success, in my opinion.
So if you drafted,
like, if it's
Jared
not
Goff,
a total bust, if it's a guy that could win you games and put you in the playoffs and be competitive, like, I don't think it's a bad draft pick, no matter where it was drafted.
Okay, but if the Bears drafted Jared Goff at 1, would you feel sort of disappointed by that?
Not really.
You wouldn't.
He'd probably break every record we ever had.
Of course. I say you always got to frame this in the perspective that it's not because we're so fucking bad. I'm just saying. I think a lot of your top quarterbacks, your Herberts, your Mahomes,
fucking Watson, bro. It's on my TV. Sorry, go ahead.
Touchdown, Watson.
Big ass catch down to the 10. Sorry.
Point being, I don't think we necessarily need a top 5 pick to get your quarterback of the future. And I just think this team has so many holes. We haven't even talked about the lack of depth on this team. We need to replace 12, 13 starters. So I don't see dropping a quarterback in this situation as being the smart move from a roster building standpoint. I would continue to build around Justin. And if he doesn't pan out to be the guy, you pull the trigger down the road.
Yeah, because the record will represent that he can't get it done.
Correct.
There you go. But you've always preached in our chats is that you need to build this thing from the inside out. And I totally agree with that. You got to build it with the defensive line. You got to build it with the offensive line. And it starts, do you take a guy at 1? Can you trade down? Can you get more picks? Which we're going to have a whole offseason that we can.
Sure. Yeah. And I think you got free agents that you can bring in to help build that. That's on both sides of the ball. The trenches. Yeah. Unless and I'm sure there's going to be that cycle where everybody starts getting franchise tagged, right? But when the dust settles, I think there's some solid names out there so far that could.
There's nobody on our roster
as far as the trenches, there's enough talent right now, as of now, where you could set yourself up where you can draft best player available.
Correct. I agree with that. I think the goal of free agency this year, like most years, should be to supplement to where you can get into position when you go into the draft that you have flexibility. You're not necessarily locked into one position of need. So I think Diddy put that very well. I would agree.
And this could be, there could be bigger change on the horizon, especially with, thank God, the end of Ted Phillips. Yeah. Thank you. Did you hear them thanking him on the TV, bro? Like, for all his accomplishments, and I'm like, oh, you got to be shitting me.
Thank you for this shit-style stadium.
Thank you for your royal sweatiness.
Bro, like everybody's Bears fans, so that they don't have any concept of, I guess, broadcasting, are like, when they showed that, we were like, fireworks, bro. Like, thank you. Bye, Felicia. Like...
You made him a lot of money, Ted. Now it's time to actually win football
Yeah,
games.
but with that, saying that, a new team president is going to come in here. The direction could shift dynamically from
we
now
haven't
until
talked
draft
about
time.
that, have we?
Yeah.
The
Because
first
we
rumor
really don't
got
know
was-
what Ryan Poles is looking for. We knew that he took over a team and had to work with what was here, right? We don't know what he's thinking going forward. We don't know what his vision was have meeting when he got hired. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be entertaining. There's going to be a lot of speculation, but at least the offseason is a lot more enticing now that this went down the way it did today.
Yeah.
Well, the first rumored presidential candidate's the Warren from the Big Ten, correct?
Yep. Kevin Warren.
Kevin
That's
Warren?
one of the biggest named
That's
guys.
the biggest
in the world.
rumor so far. Is him.
Yeah, and then they brought some bum from the freaking Cubs in instead of going after the big dog Theo. That's
Holy
the
cow.
level of.
Oh, they brought a Cubs guy in. I didn't hear that.
He was the marketing something. Braggs would know because I don't follow the Cubs, but he's not.
Interesting.
The only name I want to hear from that organization is Theo.
Theo.
That's the level we should be looking at. I think Theo one day is going to be baseball commissioner because I think he's just that dude.
Yeah. I would agree.
But I mean, he's a guy that's proven that he knows how to turn organizations around twice.
Yeah.
Broke 2 curses. You
Two
bring
curses.
that. I'm just saying. I think he can make the transition easily, but. Yeah, running the Big Ten. I mean, he does that. He's done a lot there. He's made them a lot of money. He's
He's making them
responsible
even more
for.
with
He had a lot of
adding-
responsibility for Minnesota Stadium too. So
Yeah.
stadium building, bringing in USC and UCLA into the Big Ten. That
Yeah,
revenue alone.
he's a sports businessman, and that's fine. That's what we need, right? And this allows the organization to have a flow chart now, because you don't have your boy from 30 years in the organization that has so much dirt on you that you're not going to shake him at all.
Yeah.
Now you're bringing in a new president. Now you can say the GM is on this path, right? You both answer to me, but you are in charge of football operations, as far as the players and all that. Now they can divvy things out. And I think
But
that's
I also think he's going to play. This hire is going to be rather significant because let's say we get a year or two down the road, and this rebuild is not rebuilding, and let's say there is a move to be made where Ryan Poles has to go. Instead of having Ted Phillips in your ear, and Soup Campbell and Tanisha Wade and some of these other people, ideally your new president of the team is going to collaborate with George McCaskey to make that next decision on a general manager. So, I mean, looking at it now, unless Ryan Poles is the guy, I think this hire for president is pretty damn important for the future of this organization for the foreseeable future. Because at some point in time, that president is going to have a role in hiring somebody.
Absolutely. You got to get a guy that's level-headed and willing to make tough decisions. So,
But this is at least more of a football guy than Phillips was. This is a guy that's shown that he can make things better in the football world.
I would take my dog before I'd take another year of Ted Phillips making a hiring decision. So yes, an actual football guy would be very, very nice.
I mean,
Kevin
the name
Warren
that-
is.
Right, yeah. I mean, another name I'd like to hear brought up and brought in is Omar Khan. That was a guy that from the Steelers.
yeah.
Well, he got the gig in Pittsburgh, didn't he?
He got the general manager job by title. I don't know how their system's a little different. They had but he was just a name that was floated out, and then, I mean, I remember thinking, okay, yeah, we'll give him Phillips' job and then hire the GM. You know what I mean? That's the kind of level that guy could be, and he's coming from an organization where he saw it run as one of the most consistent shit in the last 20 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
name that I'd like to hear. It doesn't. I'm not going to pretend to know much about that level
Once again-
of executive.
Once again, the Steelers have finished above 500.
Mike Tomlin, definitely not mid.
No.
No,
Coach.
my point in the chat was he was.
I didn't name names. You added yourself.
I mean, in my lifetime, I don't know a head coach that set up better though. That was Cowher's team. That was he got Cowher's assistants. that was a pretty successful organization to inherit, right? Especially when you're
100%.
you got Dick LeBeau, bro. Like that's Hall of
100%.
Fame coaching, defense.
But he's
like,
also kept it going now for like 13, 14 years.
yeah. But
Pretty impressive.
what a foundation to start off with. He
Oh,
learned
100%.
he learned he had the same GM in place that had a track record of bringing in like a nice rotation of talent for that organization. So that stuff helps.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure does.
That was definitely not your typical bringing a guy in to save a dumpster fire franchise. I mean, that thing was laid up pretty nicely for him. He has struggled a little bit hiring offensive coordinators. I know a lot of people in the Pittsburgh area do not like Matt Canada at all, and I think Todd Haley sort of rubbed people the wrong way, even though he was a decent play caller.
Yeah, and it's tough too because now he's trying to find his defense, and then Ben's retired. Like Ben was backyard football, bro. So like you had your system, right? But like it broke real quick with Ben. He made things happen, like extending plays a lot. So like they're trying to find out who they want to be. But you just got over losing a Hall of Fame quarterback.
True.
I think you saw a young quarterback grow up today in Pittsburgh too, from what I saw. Even though his stats don't look the best, he had some dimes in there. Yeah,
he's got wee little hands though.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, he threw a strike to a tight end right down the middle and between two covered. It was like, damn.
I mean, to go 9-8 with Kenny Small Hands Pickett and Mitch Trubisky, I think that's a hell of a coaching job by Tomlin this year. And I also have some breaking news. Breaking news. Anyone on any breaking punter news?
Breaking news.
Chicago Bears rookie punter Trenton Gill finished his first NFL season with a net punting average of 40.3 yards. The third best in franchise history.
Trenton Gill.
Oh, yeah.
Punt Jesus.
I mean, a bright spot. A bright spot this year for a guy who's gotten a lot of work.
He's the best freaking draft pick out of the draft.
It's the rookie of the year for the Bears.
Minus Brisker.
He's done a good job holding on kicks, too. Might be holding for a new kicker next year, but shout out Trenton
he missed
Gill.
Another one.
Yeah, now I am a little. I mean,
you were talking about freaking kickers and punters, bro.
Dude, we scored 13 points with Nathan Peterman and Tim Boyle. What is there really else to discuss?
I was about to tweet that though. I was about to say Trenton Gill is the best player on the field. Just because that's like that game was just so brutal, but it was so Bears in a sense too, because like it was like one of the worst seasons I can remember record wise. Yeah. Like in my history,
this is officially the worst, isn't it?
We haven't lived through a first round pick, boys. Like I'm sorry, the number one pick in the draft.
True.
Like this is a first in our lifetime.
Yeah, I think they solidified the franchise's worst winning percentage because we've gone 3-13, but now 3-14 is a new low. We did it, boys.
Yes.
We did it.
We're number one, baby.
Let's
number
go.
One.
Like we're really celebrating being the worst team in football. That's where we're at around our fandom.
But hey, I was told that there was no shot in hell this team was going to be amongst one of the worst, that we had sneaky good talent, that we had an upgrade at coaching.
Oh, we had Debo.
Bad Nagy was
Debo
gone.
and Bayless.
We had Debo Light.
How'd that work out?
Justin was going to become him this year with 4,000 yards. I think just over half, right?
Hey, it sucks to suck, but we got the number one pick in the draft. So, like, a lot of the times when we felt like we sucked after the season was over, we were so mid that, like, we would knock ourselves out.
There was no reward for it.
Yeah, like, 14 was, like, a good pick. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, God.
I posed this question to you in our chat. Do you think Getsy has regressed Justin's passing more than if Nagy and that crew would have coached him?
Ooh. I'll let Diddy take that one first.
I mean, I think that Getsy put him in a good position because running the way he did, it should open up the passing game more. But that also is another indictment on Getsy, man, because I'm not impressed with him as a play caller as much as I'm not happy that Justin didn't take more strides as a passer like I thought he would, right?
Yeah.
He did show improvement. It's just not it's not happening on the passing side as fast as I thought it would. But Getsy was brought here to do that. I mean, just because he was around Aaron Rodgers, and this is the mistake a lot of teams make. Just because a dude was around a dude doesn't mean he's the dude. Like,
Right.
you're with Aaron Rodgers. How many coaches?
Especially when that dude was already the dude
I'm just saying,
for a while.
like, Rodgers gets people hired, but like, what do those people
True.
do? Like, we've seen so many coaches leave there. Not so many, but maybe like 4 off the top of my head.
Philbin, McAdoo, Hackett.
Getting some big opportunities, and
It hasn't really gone well.
Was actually questioned about if he thought there'd be some coaching movement on his. And he
there's
said
just
something
when
to
you-
the effect of he needs to go back and look and reevaluate and reassess.
when you have an elite quarterback, like,
Makes a lot of people look better.
they're elite for a reason, right? Like, they make everybody look better. They make players, or they make linemen look better because they're helping them out with the way they're running the offense, right? They're the pace setter, they're the point guard. Like, so an elite one, man, people eat off that. I hope.
It just seems like
I mean, are you
It seems like-
fine? Are you fine with Getsy? Do you think he's on? It's not something that could potentially be upgraded,
oh, I think Getsy could absolutely be upgraded.
right?
And I actually think that we saw more passing prowess out of Justin last year than we saw this year.
All right. I mean, you were brought.
They relied too much on his. Maybe they relied too much on his legs. I mean, their passing stats are similar, and I think Justin started 3 less games this year.
I mean, I think I can. I'm gonna
Minus
knock
turnovers.
our GM, right? Because he knew damn well when you bring in a defensive-minded head coach, he is a defensive mind, right? Your OC becomes, in a lot of instances now in the league, when you have a young quarterback, you have an offensive-minded head coach, right? That kind of been the flavor of the month. This hire was very important, and this is who polls chose to bring Justin along, and had him second highest sack rate or whatever it is. Dude got hit 55 times. Is it all on the offensive line? No. Did Justin hold the ball long at times? I don't. All of it, right? All of it is
All of the above.
on whose desk? Getsy's.
Right.
You were brought here to help this team improve, to help this quarterback come along. I know the talent level wasn't there, bro, but this is what you were brought here to do, and you didn't succeed.
I was just
So,
going to
like-
ask, do you think from an offensive coordinator perspective that his year was successful?
No, because I think Justin's athleticism sprinkled sugar on a shit pile. I think that, like, you can't design a 50-yard quarterback run, bro. You can design a run lane, like where to go with it, the beginning of a run play, but a dynamic athlete like Justin,
Yeah, Justin pulling away and dodging 3 defenders really isn't a Getsy thing.
it's a Justin thing.
Yeah.
So everybody like, oh, look at what Getsy's doing with Justin. Like, no, Justin's doing that. Like, he's that athlete, right? Like, so I don't know. I have a lot of questions about Getsy. I would not be upset. They felt they wanted a direction as they don't want Justin to have to learn a third system in his third year. But
As the resident Getsy defender in the thread and on the pod, I don't think anything of what Diddy just said is unfair. I think over the last 6-7 weeks of the season, I think he has trended downward. I probably gave him maybe a little too much credit for flexing the offense and letting Justin run, but it was after having a stubborn coach for 4 years and Matt Nagy, it was refreshing to see a guy put his offensive system to the side and make it work to what these players do best. But then he lost sight of that throughout the season, bringing Claypool in here. Okay. He doesn't know the playbook. Well, develop a package of plays to get Claypool involved that he can learn. Flex even more. And I just feel like over the last 6-7 weeks, he didn't really do that. So as much as I would personally like to see a second season of Luke Getsy and Justin Fields together, I think maybe having some of that continuity with some infusion of more talent up front and on the outside around both of those guys. I do believe coaches can get better. I believe play callers can get better. This is his first season calling plays.
Yeah.
And he certainly has to get a lot better. No, don't get me wrong. But if the opportunity became available to go out and get a hell of a play caller, maybe if Mike McDaniel, for whatever odd reason, according to that report, if he gets fired, if there's a clear-cut upgrade available and you feel like it's worth leaving behind that continuity of a second season between coach and quarterback, then I think you do it. I don't think he has certainly done anything this year where it should be viewed as irreplaceable.
Rodgers just got sacked by like 5 dudes. Sorry. Go ahead.
Nice.
I love watching that shit.
Pause. But no, I agree with Diddy. I think, it's the talent thing. He was asked to come in and make something work with not a lot there. And I think there was times where he did accomplish that. And I think there was a lot of times where he didn't do these guys any favors and put them in positions to succeed. So again, if there's a clear-cut upgrade, I'm fine with that. But part of me would like to see that continuity continue for a second season between him and Justin. Pony?
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the comments in the chat. Sorry, BK brought up that he doesn't feel that Poles chose Eberflus, which everything reported, right?
Interesting.
It's like interesting, but it's conspiracy theory at best right now because everything reported was that he actually went against the grain and did pick his guy. And the old man that they hired him, why am I losing names now? The old
from Indy.
John Fox?
No. The guy, the consultant.
Oh, Polian.
Wanted to go in a different direction from all reports, and this is who Poles felt his guy was. Now, that could be a sales pitch. Who the hell knows? But I hope that's not the case because they did it wrong again. Right?
So BK is saying the committee is the one that chose Eberflus.
The committee came down to finalists from the direction everything sounded like. They weighed through. They did a pretty excessive. There was a pretty long list of names. I think they brought it down to so many names, like whatever it was, top 10 or whatever. But who knows what's
BK's feeling there? Is it that Poles was such a young general manager that they wanted to pair him like the Ryan Pace situation, pairing him with John Fox, an older coach?
Flus isn't even that established. I don't know why you would do that.
I agree.
Do you know what I mean? He's a first-time head coach too. I would hope that this organization isn't that bad to allow that hiring process to happen, especially if Poles wanted a guy like Dable or like Peterson, 2 coaches that happen to be in the playoffs, 2 coaches that took teams. The Jaguars is less impressive to me than the Giants because they spent a lot of money and tried to bring in receivers for Lawrence. But like I just hope we didn't have that moment where we let a Bruce Arians type level coach at the door for our quarterback. Because Brian Dable, I think, would have been great for Justin.
Yes. You were talking about the offensive line and stuff earlier. Today, they only gave up 1 sack.
Interesting. They also got the short game working a little bit. We saw slants today for the first time in weeks.
Imagine that. Okay.
Slants.
Imagine that. BK in the chat says they search coaches first and then general managers. It was documented by reporters. And I do think BK is correct about that. I do think they did. Remember, because we all complained. No, I'm not saying you were disagreeing.
Yeah.
I do think we all sort of complain. I know at least I did in the offseason that the process did seem to be a little bit ass backwards, that this committee was interviewing coaches first. But I think that's just the way the scheduling order kind of worked out with some of those guys in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and only being allowed
KC,
only some of those guys only being allowed to interview certain weeks, or they had to wait until their team was eliminated. So I think that might have been why the coaches were interviewed first, just so they could have their notes on those guys. But then Poles did bring back in there
was a whole second wave,
yeah, correct. So I tend to agree with Diddy, BK. I do think that Poles saw something in Eberflus, and they even did that. I think it was on 1920 Football Drive, where he kind of talked about he knew Eberflus from afar. They kind of talked a couple times, and when they got together and talked, they realized they had a lot of philosophical, opinions that they shared.
He didn't want anybody in the room with him with that interview either, right?
Correct. Yeah, it was
Right.
just him. He asked to do the interview alone, and George and the committee let him. So I do think he settled on Eberflus as his guy. I think he saw somebody. I think Poles knew this was going to be a total teardown. So what did he need? He needed a guy that was going to come in here and lay a culture foundation where guys were going to buy into it and they were going to play hard. I think that's what Poles was looking for on this hire.
Oh, he's accomplished that. The guys did try hard. It was just talent level. I'm not out on anybody. I'm not out on. I know there's going to be get ready.
Did you watch the Detroit game? Was that talent level?
No, what I'm saying is don't put your heart on your sleeve on those mean Twitter streets now, because it's Bears off season bullshit. There's going to be people that turn on Justin. There's going to be people that overhype him. It's going to be like this huge battle. I'm just going to show up once in a while.
The hype video comes out. Did it come out today?
Well, the hype video I think did drop.
Oh, somebody put out a hype
video.
Bro,
like all in all though, like the plays with his legs were electric. They were highlight reel craziness.
Absolutely. They were. It
was fun to watch it.
Yeah. I think Jared obviously I think Diddy agrees with that too, Jared. I mean, it's not sustainable. And that's the thing that sucks is he comes out as a better passer than he is a runner out of college. And we're so able and easily able to, exploit that second strength that he has. But it seems like unlocking his top strength coming out is just something that we've obviously struggled with so much. And it's frustrating because, at some point he's going to have to get there because the running's not going to last forever.
I mean, and the thing is, too, we always talk about fan how you want to fan, so I can't really tell people how to act. I'm just trying to prepare you emotionally for being on those mean Twitter streets, because, there's different steps to the fandom. There's the old school fans. I mean, I'm approaching that now in my life. I'm an older fan, right? So, we're in a different mindset than these kids that didn't even suffer through Jay Cutler. Do you know what I mean? That's...
Right.
Some of these dudes are coming in... We could have got a lot of people in the 18 season when all the hype was there. That's how fan bases build sometimes. And I think sometimes we're seeing these people, these kids that are real crazy hype because they want to believe. So I don't fault them, man. I do too. I'm just trying to put myself in a middle because I've my heart stomped so many times at this position. So I'm fully in on Justin. I hope that they just get things cleaned up around him so we can actually see him. The clock's ticking now. It's year 3.
Yeah.
Right. You got to start knowing.
Literally. It's literally ticking right now.
If the direction is, which I think it should be, to continue with Fields, they need to straighten that shit out so they can get a fair evaluation of him at this point.
I agree. Wyatt brought up, he was curious if we would have liked Kevin O'Connell as a head coach for us. And I think Kevin O'Connell's done a good job of having massive amounts of talent on the field. I mean, give us, do we get your offensive receivers? Do we get your tight ends? Do we get your running back? Then, yeah. I mean, there's a lot left on the field. Granted, they're 12-4. Can't talk shit, and I'm not talking shit. But
I had to log out and log back in just so I could personally put this comment up here. So BK says, no, the bullshit committee spent so much effort on their candidates that they told all GM candidates that they had to choose from their 3 finalists or Lund sand, pound sand, I think is what he was going for. But BK, none of us know that. You don't know that either. No, none of us were in that room when they told Ryan.
Maybe he was.
No,
maybe he was stuck in Matt Nagy's play card room somewhere.
Is BK a Ted Phillips burner? Is this confirmed?
Shit.
No.
He's not nearly as sweaty as Teddy.
I'm just saying. Now,
I don't think
point,
Ted would go there. The Bears actually did that greasy fuck right.
True, they did. I mean, to BK's point, could I see the Bears doing something like that? Yes, because that would be so Bears. It would be that inept of a thing that I can believe that they would do that. But the truth of the matter is,
See Teddy, bro.
it's going to be
Sorry,
so
why are we
nice,
talking-
the fact that he's not here.
It's so nice.
I just think it's one of those things that's so hard to say definitively if it is or isn't because we weren't there. We never heard the conversations that took place behind closed doors. And on
You wanna be
either
in the
side
room
of the,
where
of
it
the
happens,
argument,
right, Jer?
Absolutely.
BK's getting hot. Anyways,
Love that.
Twitter argument live.
Nice reference, Diddy. Very nice.
Yeah, the Hamilton reference, absolutely.
Yes.
We could do a pod as a musical sometime, just like sing our points and shit.
I've tried. It's not good.
Yeah, so I don't think this offseason will drag as bad as I thought it would tonight. Do you know what I mean? This ultimately, as pathetic as it sounds, right? Because like we're celebrating this. This means we are the worst team of football. But when you're down that low,
We suck.
I mean, when you're down that low, dive all the way down, baby, and that's what we did.
We're
Like,
down bad, brother.
It's all good though because not having that second round pick, we have the number 1 overall pick. We have the opportunity, regardless of what position Ryan wants to go in with the pick, to pick the best player that he feels a lot of pressure with that pick in the draft. This is an important moment for our franchise going forward. New president, number 1 pick, this is a rebuild. Like, what better way to rebuild than having the number 1 pick overall? Now you can get more picks, or you can bring in,
million.
or you can bring in a franchise-changing player if you evaluated him properly. So that this is a big moment in our team's history and our fandom. So
Who had the
it's
first
going to be
pick last
entertaining
year?
at the very least.
I agree. I think it's also going to tell you a lot about who Ryan Poles is as a general manager.
Yeah.
If he stays there and takes a player, if he looks to trade out of that pick. Last offseason, I don't think we really got a good idea of who he is just because of how limited the resources were. So the roster move potential was just not there for him.
Free agent signings weren't there for him either.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, it just
Money.
he was forced to bargain bin shop and carry 97 million of dead cap. He didn't have many picks to choose from, so it really was hard to
Did the
kind of
dead
get an
cap-
idea of who he is.
Did the dead cap outweigh the money spent on active players?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. I think the total was 97 million dead cap, and I believe the total committed that we actually paid to active players was 80 something.
Nice.
Fuck Ryan Pace, bro.
Dude, we're still paying Jimmy Graham.
I mean, bro, Ryan
It's
Pace,
ridiculous.
good God, he fucked this shit up.
Bad. Really bad.
We left the cupboard
Really, really
completely bare.
And that's why nobody should be surprised at this 3-14 season. I mean, shout out to Jer. I think you nailed the record prediction to a T. So
Thank you.
way to go, Pony.
Gotta give you credit there, bro.
Hey man, I'm gonna thank you tomorrow, Pony. I'm gonna send you
You
a thank
should've.
you in the mail. Maybe a
But
little
you didn't
fruit
post
basket.
You didn't post it on Twitter, so you could
I said it
retweet.
on the show.
Ooh, you didn't pin that tweet, Jer.
Pony,
That's
you gotta
alright.
put your thoughts out there, bro. Gotta get
My
that
thoughts
street
are
cred.
Look at Wyatt Kramer in the thread gloating about Duke Shelley and Kyrus Tonga. Hey,
A better scheme fit for Minnesota.
bro, you can
Bro.
have them.
Minnesota's gonna get lit up in the playoffs, bro.
Oh, they're going to be one and done.
No, they'll beat the Giants.
Icy Kirk is going to melt in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Who
you
did they
know
have first round?
Giants.
The Giants?
They'll beat the
Oh,
Giants.
let's go, Fat Jesus.
Jeez.
Let's
They'll beat
go.
the Giants. And then once you're in the playoffs, man, that's all it takes.
You
gotta
just
get
like
there.
totally stepped through the Giants, bro. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. I think I have the Vikings taking that against the Giants too. I think the Vikings just probably have a little too much for the Giants to handle. But
I mean, the Giants.
Touchdown, Lions.
Saquon can be too much to handle too, though.
no, it's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And to Dabble's credit, he really has squeezed every ounce out of that roster, including Daniel Jones. I mean,
You know,
he's
glad
gotten
Minnesota-
everything out of him possible. Sorry, Jerry.
Minnesota got their get right today. That's us. We're where everybody's get right.
Yeah, come on. We're no barometer for how they're going to fare in the
No.
playoffs.
Hell no, not this team especially that was on
We
the
didn't
field.
beat a division opponent this season, boys.
Ooh,
Ugh.
0-6.
We beat the Niners though, and we got to go splish splashing away.
Splish splash. That's what
Whoa.
that threw us up for a loop. We're like, oh, this is gonna be a special season.
That monsoon game had a lot of people.
Everybody fell for that, man.
What,
It just
3
seemed
and
like
4, and then
Then it just seemed like in that sports moment where they captured the magic and everything turned around.
yeah.
I'll tell you though, there are some young quarterbacks that are not looking so sweet. I mean, what do you do with that situation in San Francisco? What do
Oh,
you
the
do with
games
that
in
situation in
Oh, sorry,
Nashville?
Jack.
I think you have an open competition between Brock Purdy and Trey Lance. Obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo is a free agent, and you're probably not bringing him back. But I think it's a good thing for San Francisco. You let Purdy and Trey Lance battle it out, and the loser is a very cheap, affordable backup. One would be super athletic and have a lot of high upside, high ceiling, and the other one is a steady presence that you already know can come in and win you a couple games if needed. Tennessee, I think they're clearly looking for an upgrade. I think I mentioned that Jimmy Garoppolo could be a possible landing spot there.
Oh
I
my
think
God,
Ryan
around the
Tannehill's,
league.
they're probably going to move on from him.
I mean, that's also something that we have to deal with. We have to navigate all these quarterbacks now. That in the most Bears way, you get an offensive
You don't
kind
have
of
to, bro.
deprived draft.
You don't
You
have
have
to do that.
quarterbacks. No, I'm saying that there are other teams that are going to take a look at these quarterbacks that
They have
maybe
to be-
want.
And the Bears have to be there for every top 3 pro day. All 3
The Lions
quarterbacks.
just
Sure.
went
The
ahead,
Bears.
by the way.
What's that?
I said, sorry, the Lions just went ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, not a problem, man. What I'm saying is that you're still gonna show a presence at all these quarterback pro days because you want to trick people into thinking that you're drafting a quarterback even if you're not.
Absolutely.
There has to be
Gotta
that-
play the game.
Poles has to sit Justin down and be like, listen, you're the dude. We're just doing this to gain leverage because if teams start legitimately feeling
Unless
like
he's not
Bryce
the
is your
dude.
guy. What I'm saying is, oh, the Bears are so in on Bryce. That shit's gonna pop out. It has to, right? You're not doing your job if it doesn't.
Correct.
You want teams to believe and give up a king's fucking ransom for that pick. So it's gonna cause a shitstorm on Bears Twitter, bro.
Bill Polian also said that, regardless of positional need, general managers and scouting departments evaluate every single draft eligible prospect because even if you're not in a position to take a certain guy,
Right.
guys become free agents in 3, 4, 5 years, and you will sometimes see them down the road. So having that initial scouting basis is something that all teams do, regardless of position. Patriots and Packers scouted top quarterbacks when they had Brady and Rodgers in their prime. Oh, the overreaction today from that crowd was, Briggs or Brad Biggs really pushing a narrative there. Jeez, if this would not be happening if it wasn't Justin.
Yeah, the Justin Jerkers
Come
crew
on,
is already
man.
forming. It's
Justin
like the
Jerkers.
well, no, because you got dudes that just want to hate on everything he does. Very similar to the Mitch argument, right? You got the people on both extremes, and then you got a lot of fans like us sitting here, like, okay, the kid stuff's correctable, like we're just trying to be even keel and in the middle of it all, and they're both getting their voice put out there on the Twitter sphere. So like the comments just stick out to us because like, God damn, like how can somebody like be this blindingly faithful?
Yeah.
But it's gonna be
Especially if you're a Bears fan.
I think a lot of them on Twitter, Jared, and Diddy, I think a lot of them are young still. So like, I mean, you guys even have a couple years on me. So you guys have had it a little bit longer than me, but I mean,
yeah, everybody fans differently, but at least fan from burner, like
well, no, I mean, I just don't understand. I think there's this perception that if you're not a total homer, that you're not a real Bears fan. And it's okay to be realistic. It's okay to be a little pessimistic because the reality is this franchise and this team have done nothing to deserve the benefit of the doubt for the better part of the last 30 years.
Absolutely.
So here's the scenario I want to throw out to you, and I know we're going to get into draft stuff further along, but like, wants to trade up because they feel that they're calling the Bears bluff, right? You're not taking a quarterback anyway. That we'll trade up at 2 and not have to deal with all this bullshit, right?
Yeah.
and we take Will Anderson Jr. there. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I mean, based on the
Well,
limited amount of draft analysis that I've done, it was either him or Jalen Carter, and I think Will Anderson in the bowl game solidified it for me. He looked like the better player. Granted, it's only one game, but
Yeah.
yeah, if we cannot get a haul to move down, I think Will Anderson Jr. is 110% the pick.
Or Carter, possibly. Carter looked a little gassed. He has been injured a lot of the year.
Correct.
So, I mean, I don't know. He also had, what, 2.5
Jerry, you'd be
weeks?
happy with Carter 1 overall?
No, I
don't know
wouldn't.
if I could do
I-
that.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm saying.
If
Yeah.
you're holding a gun to my head and we're going to take a defensive player, the 3 technique's the most important position on the defense, period, point blank. It just is. And
In this defense, that's correct. It is the 3 technique.
Yeah, but you don't draft the need. You draft the better player. So
Correct.
you're taking
Correct.
Anderson.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think you have to. I mean, if the talent differential between Will Anderson and a bigger need at defensive tackle, you can't just reach because of the need. That's how guys get fired.
Oh, I mean,
That's how
if
you
you're
end up
asking
missing
me
out
what
on
I
great
would
players.
do, honestly, what I would do is I'd shop that motherfucker. I'd be like, okay, ring, Indianapolis.
No, I hope
But
that
I think
will.
the hypothetical was sorry, Diddy. I think the hypothetical was that what if that trade never develops? What are you
Right.
doing?
That's why I
The
said
thing-
I would one or the other.
The thing with him is, I hope that the evaluation is that they feel that he can play with his hand in the dirt consistently in the NFL, because I think he's built to be a better 3-4 outside linebacker than an outside linebacker in this defense. I think he would be more effective in a 3-4.
No. Do we have breaking news?
Lovie took
I
the
don't
L
know.
for us, bro. Like, hard.
Oh, he did.
So do we hire him as our defensive coordinator just to thank him?
Yes.
Let me say this real quick.
Alan Williams, thank you for your job. Now get the fuck out. We're bringing Lovie
All right,
back.
for the
Let me
listeners
say
that
this.
for the 30 people or whatever that download the podcast, try to segue
100 no.
verbally
No.
biscuits on what you're hitting.
Let
on,
me
because
tell you
that
about
was-
this.
It was off a
I'm gonna
chat
tell you
comment.
that. I'm gonna tell you this number. 109 last week.
What?
What?
We had 109
109 what?
downloads.
Woo! We're going to the pod bowl.
me and biscuits are
I
like
was
trying
so
to think of some
lost.
football number 109. We're like,
I
what do you?
thought he was saying like Lovie Smith has 109 wins in his career or something.
Yeah. So what biscuits is hitting on is there was a comment in the chat that Lovie just got fired. So
Look, I think Lovie obviously got his fair shake here. In my opinion, he got 9 years. Yes, after getting fired for 10-win season, it kind of stunk. But I got why they moved on. I thought it was time to move on. But
Ooh.
to be offered that job in Houston and to be given by far the worst or second worst roster in the league, and to only be given the one season, I just feel like he did get kind of a raw deal there. I think he got a raw deal in Tampa Bay when his offensive coordinator got promoted and he was fired after they drafted Jameis Winston. I love you, Lovie. Thank you for solidifying the 1 pick, but I do think you got shafted there in Houston.
yeah, I mean, I agree. He was put in a position with everything going on with Deshaun Watson too, and keeping this team stable. Like that. That's a
Quite
lot for a head coach.
honestly- Quite honestly, if he got fired for winning today, that's bullshit.
Yeah,
absolutely-
but like that's also bullshit from the not the fair shake that Biscuits is talking about. I mean, he took
Right.
over a pretty shitty situation and kept them competitive. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
This is a tire fire.
Sure, but like Lovie's a good coach of steer. He just never was able to get the right. He has a good GM in place, if I'm not mistaken. Still, right?
Nick Caserio, so the report is that Nick Caserio also might be fired as well.
Wow.
Surprisingly, and I think personally he would be given a raw deal if he was fired. He was hired in 2021, 2 years, and he took over, like Diddy said, on the heels of the Deshaun Watson situation. Got it, probably as much as he could for him in that trade. I mean, at some point, what are you expecting guys to do? It would be a miracle if this team. I just don't know what Cal McNair is thinking. I don't know what he's looking for, inheriting this much of a mess in a year or two.
Right. I mean, hopefully Lovie lands on his feet. If not, he's going to be a very highly paid defensive coordinator somewhere. So,
And he
He
still
didn't
collects
hurt-
a check
I
from
don't-
them.
I don't think he hurt his stock at all this year, considering he had to work with.
No.
defensively.
But I think this was Lovie's last go. I don't see him getting a fourth head coaching job in the league. That very rarely ever materializes, if it ever has.
I think you saw a coach that might have known that this was his last game on the team, and he wasn't trying to tank it. I mean, what they pulled off was pretty awesome. Like, nobody expected that.
I mean,
So,
let's not. The Colts are not the Chiefs. But
NFL's the NFL, man. I don't care who you're playing.
Absolutely.
Like, big moments don't happen a ton, and that was a pretty epic. Even though the game was meaningless, to us it wasn't. Like, Soldier Field exploded when that shit went down.
Yeah.
Like, to us it was huge. And even though it took another team to pull it off, we're not used to the huge moments rolling our way. Like,
Yeah, right. The ball finally broke our way from
bro,
us.
I was legit pissed when they started beating them. Like, when the Colts came back, I was legit fucking angry. Like, I was like, God, man, we just can't ever have the perfect shit happen to put us in the best position we need to be. And it happened today.
Yeah.
So, like, it's a win in a shitty season with a shitty game to watch to end the season and all the shit that went south with this team. And, like, we got the number
At least
one
that gave it a
overall
little
draft
bit of intrigue today.
Oh,
You
hell
know,
yeah.
the end of the Texans game, we were in the thread kind of having a passionate discussion. And it was like probably the first time in weeks that I've actually been excited about an outcome that could potentially affect the Bears one way or the other. And it was nice, like you said, to see it bounce our way for once.
Yeah. We'll take it, right?
Yeah.
Like, especially you, bro. This is like draft is your Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, the trap has become my Super Bowl because the seasons have been so brutal. But I mean, I think, my ideal situation for this team obviously is I think Diddy hit the comment of the night for me, which is approaching free agency where you can solidify maybe a little bit of that offensive line, a little bit of that defensive line, and go into the draft with a lot of flexibility. And ultimately, if we could move down but stay inside the top 5, collect some picks, and still end up with like a Will Anderson Jr., I think that's starting off the draft in a perfect situation for us.
What do you see that pick getting? Like, say somebody does trade up because they feel that Bryce Young is a quarterback of the future.
Yeah, I mean, I guess obviously the biggest variable to that would be who is the one trading up and how far are they coming up?
Say it's
is
Miami.
it Miami. Okay, so Miami does they have a first? No, they don't have a first round pick this year.
Oh, they don't.
So,
right.
I mean, for me, that would be a non-starter if I was Poles because I still want to remain in the first round this year because you have to add.
They're gonna have to throw in a wide receiver like Waddle.
Now that's where things get interesting.
So say you get Waddle and their next 2 firsts.
God, that's tough. That's tough because then you start thinking, okay, man.
No,
Their second. If
they end up in a second, if they end up being a good team, they're going to be late first round picks. Is that enough? 2 late first rounders, a second, and Jalen Waddle for the number 1 overall.
Didn't they just trade a bunch of firsts for Tyreek Hill?
Well, yeah, but they also they had the first. Well, you might be right, Joe. They traded Tunsil and whatchamacallit.
Yeah, I don't know where they're drafting next year.
All those picks ended up netting them Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and somebody else. That's tough, Diddy. I think I would rather approach the Bengals about T. Higgins and Trey Hendrickson. I don't know why they would do that, but I think if you're going player for player, there with Jalen Waddle, and you're
Bengals
not
aren't
getting
coming up to 1 though.
No, Bengals aren't coming up to 1 for what? They already have Burrow. I think for the
Houston
Dolphins
Texans
thing to
at
make
2.
sense, they'd have to offer an offensive lineman with
In the
it.
top, here's your top 10. All right. Texans at 2, Arizona at 3, Indianapolis at 4. I think that's your sweet spot.
I could see the Colts at 4
5,
moving up.
Seattle.
What?
6,
Now that Houston fired
Lions.
Lovie, that might be their sweet spot.
True. That's true.
6, the Lions. 7, the Las Vegas Raiders. 8,
See the
Atlanta.
Raiders doing it too.
Carolina. And Philadelphia's got the 10th pick.
Now that
So, I mean-
that one's interesting, Jared. The Raiders at 7, you said?
Raiders
Fucking
at 7.
Philly, the
And
10th pick biscuits.
Atlanta at 8.
I just feel like
And-
eight, you're dropping so where you're not going to get Will Anderson or Jalen Carter, but you might end up with like a Skoronski from Northwestern, offensive
Right.
tackle.
So what if you move to 4 with Indy and they say we're going to give you Shaq
4,
Leonard,
obviously.
4, Shaq Leonard, and a 3rd round pick for your number 1 pick.
It have to be Shaq Leonard, Quentin Nelson, and a number 1 pick.
So you want another player.
I would take 4, Quentin Nelson, and another draft pick.
What if I said DeForest Buckner also?
Yes, DeForest
So what if-
Buckner,
what if
Quentin
I went-
Nelson, and number 4. Done. Deal.
And we want JJ Stankovich back too.
Yeah,
Yes,
bring us
that's right.
down.
We want them all. But I think that's a team. The Colts are a team that has looked for a quarterback. They can't. Chris Ballard obviously can't get it right if he's still got a job at the end of this year.
I
Lovie
can't even
Smith got fired
defend
for
him. I
Ballard.
can't even defend him.
Oh, you're a Ballard boy, aren't you?
I'm a Ballard guy. They should have given him
Yeah.
that job long ago.
If Ballard gives up the kitchen sink, do you still feel the same way about him from that perspective?
No, because now it's going to be a act of pure desperation, and if he doesn't hit on that quarterback pick,
It's about time they actually draft one that they think is going to be the future, though. He's always brought in like the veteran on the last leg.
100%. And he's done it one too many damn times. He really has. And I don't feel like firing. I feel like firing Frank Reich was the wrong move. I feel like Ballard did not give Frank enough to be successful here, and ultimately Frank got scapegoated for it.
I would bring Frank in for Justin faster than I could blink, bro.
Talk about an upgrade for Getsy. Yes, I would 110 sign me up for that. 110%.
And it's a guy that Getsy knows, so that's how these things work, right? If Reich Getsy doesn't
Oh,
get
you mean
hired,
Flus knows? Guy that Flus knows.
Flus.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad. Flus knows, and bro, like that could
Sign
be a
me
reality.
up. Hell yeah.
I mean, the point
Yes.
is that we need a bunch of things to get that 1 pick. It's not gonna be pick for pick. You're gonna
Unless it's a lot of picks.
exactly. And even
Well, it's like
land.
what did Washington give up to
I mean,
go up to get
shit,
RG3?
what did they give up for Goff, bro?
Yeah, golf. RG3 was a lot that the Washington gave up. 3 first rounders and 2 second rounders, I think.
Yeah, dude, we could end up like cleaning.
I mean, I would not like as much as I think Will Anderson Jr. is going to be a great player. I would not be opposed to sliding down in that like 6th, 7th, 8th slot if we were guaranteed to get like a Skoronski or that other offensive tackle who's rated up there pretty high.
If you
Come away with a
you're
boatload
paying-
of picks and an
you're
offensive lineman, I'd be
paying,
okay
bro.
with. Oh, big time,
Yeah,
big time.
we'd end up fleecing at that point.
And I think for a team with as many holes as there are, I wouldn't feel bad about missing out on Will Anderson Jr., Jalen Carter at that point.
Will Anderson Jr. That's a tough one because that's like my number 1 dude for this team in the draft because I don't think they're drafting a quarterback at all. So I'm not even really scouting these guys. Like I think
Yeah.
Bryce is gonna be a hell of a quarterback though.
Yeah, you are pretty big on Bryce, aren't you?
And I'm usually not on Bama quarterbacks. I know we're not gonna get into this argument about school,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
I'm usually not.
Yeah.
I love Hurts. I did like Hurts, but they let him go. You know?
Yeah, to Oklahoma. Yeah.
I think Bryce is special, man.
I guess here would be my question to you, Diddy. Would you feel better about coming away with Will Anderson Jr. at number 1 overall, or coming away with Skoronski, the top-rated tackle, at 7 or 8 with 4 more draft picks behind it?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
Offensive
So
line,
you are willing, if the Hall's right, you're willing to move.
Yeah,
past
because of the trenches, right? If you got the best play feel for your trenches and you're building that, I'm good, man. Because that needs to be the sole focal. You got a left tackle that's going to be your dude for the next 10 plus years at a high level. Fuck yeah, I'm good.
And 4 more, 3, 4, whatever, how many
Yep.
draft pick swings after that. I think that's a lot of what the draft is if you can acquire more picks, yes, you have to hit them, but your probability of success goes up that you're going to hit on more picks with the more you have, obviously.
Justin's blind side protected, like, solidly. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. And like you said multiple times, including on the Cover One podcast that you did a great job going on the other week.
Nice plug. That was
Hey,
professional.
man, that's what I do. I think you said it
professional
best
plug,
where there is not a single position along this offensive line that is not up for debate whether or not it's upgradable or replaceable. Braxton Jones was a great value pick, and he's played at times well, but as Jer has notated, he needs to get a lot stronger. His technique needs to be refined, and he's very far from being a sure thing staple at left tackle. Borum has struggled this year. Whitehair's getting long in the tooth. None of us want to see Sam Mustipher for another season.
No.
We don't know what Lucas
Although I
Patrick
will
is going to
say-
bring to the table.
Bro, Jones'
saying,
back
like-
sack on Fields was my breaking point. That's soft ass shit. Like, I'm sorry.
It's up with the one where he got
story.
thrown into him.
Like nothing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
like a paperweight, bro.
Boys, we can relax now.
Did they
What?
win? They won. Detroit.
First and goal
Detroit won.
with under a minute left, or under 2 minutes.
Good for them, bro.
That's the point.
Good for
We've
them.
now look at that. We've now
What?
reached the point where another team's misery is more bringing us more happiness than the Bears themselves.
Really sucks.
man.
It sucks to suck, but at least we got the number one
Well,
overall pick.
there's
Yeah, that's true.
but that's another
That is
team
true.
that you can take a blueprint from, sort of.
The Lions.
Yes, you can take a blueprint from the Lions, and you can look at the team that picked first last year. Who was that?
We're talking about taking
Jaguars.
a blueprint from the
Yeah.
Lions, bro.
Hey, man, you got to take it where you can take it. You got to have
As
some pride.
scary as that is, I think Jerry actually has a point because I think for once the Lions are building something pretty legit.
They
Bro,
just
they're
took
not
the
going to the
Packers and said,
playoffs.
"Sit your ass home."
No, they're not going to the playoffs, but they made a huge improvement this year. And if it not for one game, they would be in the
Must suck
playoffs.
to, bro. Imagine not making the playoffs because the Lions beat you, bro.
That does suck, dude. That's bad. That's bad. Does that? So let me ask you two.
That's beautiful.
Let me ask
Enjoy
you
Green
two.
Bay.
Do you all think that this is the final nail in the Aaron Rodgers coffin? Is he
I don't give a
in
fuck
green
about
and
him,
gold?
bro.
Well,
I
hold
don't
on,
care.
come on. Is Jer?
care.
I'll throw it
Let
to
me
you.
enjoy this moment,
Is
bro.
is Aaron Rodgers going to be in green and gold next year? I'll throw
Yeah.
it to you, Pony. You think
I
so?
think
You
I
think
think
he's
so.
back? Okay.
Yeah. Signed your guard. You've signed. Yeah.
I have to. Honestly, I probably have to agree. I do think that Rodgers is back for one more year in 2023. I could see it for one more year. Sadly. Wyatt
It's
Kramer
still-
says he's headed to Tampa.
He gone.
I don't think Rodgers is going to head to
Oh.
Tampa. Brady's probably looking at getting out of Tampa, and I don't know if Rodgers is Brady to the Raiders. I do agree with that. I think that's a heads up. Good call there. I don't see. I think Tampa's sort of fading a little bit.
They were beat the fuck up. They're starting to get healthy now.
True, yeah, they lost some linemen earlier in the year, and their wide receivers, both Godwin and Evans, have kind of been banged up. But I guess the last thing that I want to ask you guys that we've sort of covered in the thread.
Are you guys watching the game live? The way he's walking off right now and looking at the crowd.
You think
Holy
he's done?
shit.
You heard it here. Oh,
He's taking his sweet ass time, bro.
my
No, it's
brother
And
my brother in the
yes,
chat.
no,
Packers
They
suck.
do.
Good night.
You are
from
correct.
A Packers fan.
yeah,
Oh.
but he's a Packer fan. Look at the way he's looking. Like, yeah, it looks like this might be the walk-off.
Is he giving?
Sit
Hold on.
on your couch.
Hold on. Is he giving the look to the crowd that, hey guys, it's been a fun ride and
Yep.
and really,
Did he
Yeah.
take the belt off?
really,
Took
White
his time talking to
Kramer.
Williams.
He
took
looks
his time.
done. Wow.
Yeah, bro.
Blow pack blow. Wow.
But he could be the best actor too.
But sure,
Sit
you
on
know,
the couch in January.
Aaron Rodgers is very melodramatic. He likes to do these things because he
might be
likes
high
the
on-
attention. He wants people all off season to talk about Aaron Rodgers. Where's
He's
he going
still
to
got
go?
his arm
Where's he
around
going to
Randall
be?
Cobb in the fucking tunnel, bro.
He might be high on bath salts.
Wow. Could we have seen the end? God, I
I'm a
hope so.
cob.
That would be
Not the first time he's cried with a cob.
that would
It'd be great. It'd be great. It'd be great for the fucking rebuild.
That would be great. So
It certainly wouldn't hurt.
I want to throw one more hypothetical to you guys before we get out of here because this is
Here we
probably
go.
going on 30 minutes too long.
No, whatever.
The last two off seasons we have
This
seen.
is probably
some-
the last one we're gonna do for a while. So fuck it.
Okay, hey guys, you listeners, you're getting a special treat tonight. Diddy wants
You're
to
gonna hear
stay
us.
and talk.
You're gonna hear us talk like we do when we kill the mics.
White Kramer just saluted the crowd. Ooh, he might be done. Was it that? Well, never mind. I'm not gonna touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah,
what,
it was-
what kind of salute it was?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Let me let me throw it to you.
I was gonna
guys.
go there and I didn't. 'Cause you
I
gotta
thought
just-
about it. I'm like, nah, I don't want to get our 4 listeners
Yeah,
to
get
cancel
canceled. Right.
us. In the last 2 off seasons, we've seen some pretty big wide receiver names get moved. I'm gonna throw a couple names to you guys, and you tell me, do any of these names interest you? And if so, what would you be willing to give up for them? Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins, T. Higgins, and the one that I think is very far-fetched, Devontae Adams. I don't think he's going anywhere after only 1 season because of the huge amount of dead cap money the Raiders would have to eat. But I think Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, T. Higgins, and DeAndre Hopkins would be the 4 guys I would personally say to keep an eye out for. And a sleeper, Michael Pittman Jr. with the Colts. Do any of those names do anything for you, gentlemen? In theory, the Rams.
Can we tier them? Can we tier them at least to
Sure.
try to actually like make it a little bit more of a conversation? Because for me, like Devontae, Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, and DeAndre Hopkins are guys that I would not even come close to offering a first rounder for. Like those would be like later picks
Okay.
at this point in their career. I mean, we watched Randy Moss at that point in his career. Yes, Randy was a little more of a headache than most, but like he was still one of the top 5 receivers in the NFL, right? Like, and it was in his older stage in his career. Like, I wouldn't give away the freaking farm for that. But like T. Higgins is a guy that I might entertain giving up next year's first or something. Like, not the number 1 overall.
Because of his youth and
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I think Michael Pittman would kind of be in that same category in terms
he's
of
a
being
little
young
higher.
enough. You
Hey,
rate Pittman over Higgins, really?
Pittman's
No.
one of 3.
It's
Pittman's
Higgins
one
over
of 3
Pittman.
Colts.
Oh.
Pittman's one of 3 Colts in their franchise history to catch 100 balls.
Yeah, I think Michael Pittman's a very good wide receiver. I would agree with Diddy. I'd probably lean T. Higgins slightly over Pittman Jr.
We've talked about this, and
He's got
Biscuits, you
100
hit on it.
look-
Like, T would be more of a one here,
Yeah.
I think, than
I
Pittman.
disagree.
Ooh. All right, Pony. Hit,
I think
so,
Pittman played with shitty quarterbacks all year and he caught 100 balls.
Matt Ryan, bro.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what's he
yeah,
done?
okay. He's not a
corpse
shitty
of
quarterback.
Matt Ryan.
Sure, but he's not a shitty quarterback. Like, let's not.
It's not good. You're in love with the idea that got torched at 28-3. I mean,
I'd probably have to agree with Jer. Matt Ryan was not very good this year overall.
No, I'm not saying that, but he's not like an absolute shitty quarterback. He's still
No, he's not like Nathan Peterman and
but
Tim Boyle throwing
my-
him the ball or anything.
right.
My whole argument with
Like
T.
shitty
Higgins
for him is over 3,000 yards passing. You're getting
whole
opportunities.
argument is look who the quarterback is in Cincinnati. He's a 2 for him. He may not be a 2 for us. He might be a 4 because our
He's
quarterback's
playing
got to
with
get him the fucking
an
ball.
elite one. He's playing with an elite one, bro.
Who?
Higgins. That does make a difference.
True. No,
He
100%.
still
I think.
produced without him in the lineup, yes, but
Thank you. Okay, thank you. As long as
don't
that
disagree
caveat
with
was
that.
in there. But I do agree that just because he did for that short period of time isn't a large enough sample size to say that he could be the guy consistently all year. I do think he's super talented. I do think he would be a 1 here, but obviously he's going to cost you more than a Mike Evans or a Keenan Allen who's been sort of hurt here all year.
Mike
DeAndre
Evans is not
Hopkins.
young. either.
No, he's not. He's not young. Even though he's really hasn't slowed down. He has another 1,000-yard season. He's the first player in NFL history to ever have 8 straight 1,000-yard seasons to open up his career.
feels like more of a rental though than a long-term guy. That's all
that's
I'm
not an
saying.
answer.
100%. You are not wrong about that. Now let me throw another situation out there to you guys.
Here we go. The situation.
The Rams do not have a first-round pick until 2025. Matthew Stafford, by all accounts, is pretty much done and won't play again next year.
Their coach
Aaron
is
Donald.
possibly living.
Yep. So McVay's talking about going to the broadcast booth. Aaron Donald is talking about retiring. Is Cooper Kupp a guy, 29 years old, coming off an injury? Would he be someone that you'd be willing to give up a high-round draft pick for?
He'd fall in the same category. He's pushing 30.
Yes, he is.
So
Jerry
that would
said
put
no.
No, it's too much. It's too close to 30.
So if the Rams said, hey, for a 2024 first-round pick, you could have Cooper Kupp.
Nope. Not giving up.
we're not there
first
yet.
round
That's
pick.
a move you make. That's a move you make if you're close. Like we're not close.
Now, what if you feel like you could shore up the trenches in this offseason? Granted, that would be a hell of a feat to get both done in one offseason.
No, I'm just looking for significant progress, not a full rebuild. You're not going to get that, but like you just want to see like a turnaround. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like we just want things to look solid. They didn't even look like that this year.
Yeah, functional.
Right.
I'm just throwing out names of guys that I think.
I'm sorry.
Possible.
I'm on T though because I'm even looking at the production. Like
That's
T Higgins broke 1,000 yards and had 7 touchdowns. Like
that's fine. I don't think there's a wrong answer really.
I mean, they're two different receivers. You know, Pittman is your prototypical possession receiver. And Higgins sort of gives you a little bit more of that explosion that I think this offense needs out of that wide receiver position.
Well, yeah. I mean, you get a legit who you feel is going to be a legit one here that can do that. Plus Claypool, plus Mooney, plus Kmet. Now that's something, man. I mean, possession receivers are fine to get quarterbacks going too, though. So I wouldn't complain about either one of them coming here. I just think the compensation for T would be a little bit higher, in my opinion.
I agree with that. I completely agree.
How old is Aaron Donald, by the way?
And but I do think there's going to be a tremendous opportunity for this team to add an explosive running back, a game-changing running back. The list, I don't think there's any position deeper in free agency this year than running back. And I think when you look at why they traded for Claypool, because there's no free agent wide receivers out there. You probably don't want to lock yourself into a second-round wide receiver again because of the development time curve it takes for them to make an impact. So
we're going to be in the later portion of that round too.
Correct, because we have the Ravens pick making the playoffs. I think running back is a position that they can really look to upgrade this year, maybe like a Saquon Barkley type. That could add some more explosion to this offense when your choices of wide receivers are going to be very limited.
I think that keeping Monty at a reasonable price isn't a bad thing either if you're planning on featuring the running back position more than you did this year.
Interesting.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not paying him top 5 money. I'm not
Yeah,
sniffing
no,
that.
heck no.
Do you know what I mean? But
No.
if it's a reasonable contract based on his production, I'd be fine with it.
I wonder what his level of interest is in even coming back.
Also true. But
Oh, he would make more money elsewhere, no question. I hope he does. I hope he goes to a team that has a really established offensive line because he would put in work, in my opinion. Like, if you got him consistently, and I've said it before, to the second level, I think Monty would be a lot more productive.
the only problem for him, though, is there's like 10 or 12 other running backs that are probably going to get paid before him.
Right, but even at that, I still think he'd make more money in that position than he would here. Is all I'm saying.
Interesting.
I think.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
Valuing
misread
him
your first point.
Yeah, I think he would make more money on the market still, because what team couldn't use his skill set? He can block. He's a solid runner.
And he's
he
got a
can
great
catch out of the
attitude.
backfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's
That
he's a
helps
guy.
lot.
Right, from the PR standpoint, dude is he's a beast, man. I do love Monty, right? But
When he hits the hole and runs hard, he's
oh sure, I just don't. If he wants top 5 money, I just don't think we're there as a team to invest that much into the running back position right now with so many holes to fill.
I feel like this year he's ran harder than he did last year and the year before.
Before his injury last year, bro, I was actually like, holy shit. Like, he looked
Yeah.
Explosion.
explosive. I was like, all right. It sucked that he got hurt. And maybe he feels like maybe he backed off of that speed training because of that. But, like, when he came off at the beginning of that season before he got injured last year, I was like, oh, shit. Okay. Like, now we got the explosion we've been, like, waiting for, kind of. But I still think he's going to be a solid addition no matter where he goes. Like, he's probably going to have more success elsewhere. You get a team that likes to run the rock a lot, like 30 times a game, he can handle that.
How about Detroit?
I think he'd be a good change of pace, and I think now you give Vrabel those 2 running backs, he's going to run 60 times a damn game, and like he would love that.
That's kind of a mess in Nashville right now, though.
Oh sure, I think they're pretty high on him, though, man. Like,
I mean, your offensive coordinator gets hammered on a plane ride and gets pulled over for DWI. You fired your general manager. A lot of uncertainty in that building, in my opinion.
Which building?
Tennessee.
Nashville.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if they're moving on from King Henry, though.
No, I'm just saying, but him and Monty would be a duo.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
Vrabel would love that shit.
Yeah, that's true. He would fit that Vrabel offense.
Could you imagine if Justin had Derrick Henry? Oh my God!
I'm just saying, there's teams that Monty would be very, very solid at, man. Like he could be absolutely a top 5 rusher in the NFL consistently with a better line in front of him.
I think there's no doubt he would look obviously a lot better being with a team with an actual offensive line, but also
This season
you
preserved
hit
him a
it.
little bit too.
It did,
Like-
but you hit it earlier, and it's sort of like you don't really see a whole lot of those guys anymore. I think Jordan Howard was kind of one of those guys, but he's a rhythm runner, so you need to give him volume touches in order to really get him going and see the true benefit of what he brings as a running back. You know, given him a carry, then not featuring him again until late in the second quarter. It's just so sporadic. He's a rhythm guy. He needs multiple carries in a row.
And he can catch on quick screens. Like,
Yeah.
a guy like him, the way he runs, would dominate freaking cornerbacks and safeties because he just runs through people. They just weren't able to get that going. Like,
I was curious about the stats between Jordan Howard and Montgomery. You know, in the 3 years that Jordan Howard was here, he rushed for more rushing yards on almost 200 more attempts.
they ran him more.
But
Yeah.
I think Jordan Howard has a higher yards per carry though than David Montgomery
Yes,
does.
but this is where it gets different. I mean, when Montgomery's receiving, like the first year with Jordan Howard, he caught the ball like I think 70% of the time.
They didn't throw it to him a whole lot.
They threw
But
it to him a lot.
Jordan Howard could catch though.
He became decent. In
They
the
stopped
beginning,
doing
he
it.
he had stone hands, bro.
No, I think he had a 70% completion rate.
There was just big moments sending it out because like once in a while I'd be like, catch it.
Interesting. Okay. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't remember that far back.
It was early on, like first couple games probably. It was like, oh shit. I mean, he was solid, but he also had 2 Pro Bowlers in front of him at guard. Like,
Yeah.
Josh Sitton was a beast. Like when he was
No,
healthy.
he was a solid running back, but he wasn't special or great at any one thing.
No, he could rush. He could rush for 30 times for 3 to 4 yards a whack.
Yeah, 100%. No, he would have been. He came in the NFL a little bit too late. Had he come in the 90s or like the early 2000s, there would have been a longer career for Jordan Howard than.
If he didn't have John Fox, he would have had a longer career. Most coaches at that point were doing running back counts, bro.
Yeah, Fox did kill him.
Foxy took like 5 years off his career, bro.
Yeah, without any shame.
Well, his running style, like he just give it to him. He'd keep him in fucking 4 quarters, bro. Like,
dude, sadly, he was the only thing worth watching there for a couple of years for the Bears,
some
dude.
Seasons, bro. Like I know the meatballs love like we're #1 in rushing. Like deep down, it still means something. But God, like we can run. We all know that. Like,
yeah, it's not really doing anything for me. I'm not hanging my hat on that as something.
Oh, if our defense was top 5, it'd be great, right?
Yeah, it would, but at the same time, and maybe okay. Yes, you have to be able to run the ball and you have to play great defense if you want to get far in the playoffs. But it is a passing league, and it would just be nice for once in franchise history to have that quarterback to have that feeling as a Bills fan when you're watching Josh Allen go down the field and you just know he's going to get it done. It would be nice to have that for once. So yeah, it would be great to have the great defense, but I want a damn modern age passing game. I want to see a 4,000-yard passer before I die. Like,
yeah, definitely. But like if they build the defense solidly, that's also better for Justin's development because you can afford mistakes and try to get shit right that needs to be worked on more and not play so timid when your defense can hold shit down. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you can afford to gamble a little bit more on offense when you have a defense you can trust. That's a fair point.
I'm just saying, Justin's been put in a tough position to succeed too, because not only does he knows he has to grow as a passer, but when they're trying to sometimes be too conservative with it because they know their defense is a liability, really fair to Justin. Like this, do you know what I mean? Like his development's been slower, and a lot of it has to do with what's around him. To at least provide solid offensive line play and a solid D line for this team next year. Solid steps forward. Like hopefully this offseason that it happens, man. I'm 100 times more interested in it now than I would have been had shit not worked out the way it did today. Do you know what I mean? Because like,
oddly enough, I think you're right. I had thought about it prior to today, and I'm like, I mean, what's the 1 or 2? Who cares? But I think you're right. I think now having the #1 pick, it does bring a little bit more excitement that we control the cards. We control how the draft is ultimately going to unfold early. And there's a lot of potential there to possibly get a haul and really make this rebuild accelerate a little bit quicker.
Yes, sir.
I mean, bro, how often do GMs get this moment? Like,
That's
if you're the man, if you're the man, polls be the man. You know what I mean? Like, get us that dude that's gonna change shit. Whether it's trading back, regardless, will be in the 8 would be, I think, a little crazy for them to come up that high, but we could still realistically be in the top. We could still realistically be in the top 5 though, with building more picks. So if you're drafting the top 5, hopefully, no matter how this pans out, I just hopefully they get a guy that is dominant at that position that's picked for years to come.
Now here's a guy.
Did you just do the Chris Collinsworth? Is that what you just did?
Yes.
I agree with Diddy. I mean,
Collinsworth's going to probably buy some boxed wine tonight and just cry himself to sleep.
Oh,
Make
yeah.
the playoffs.
Send it on a high note, boys.
Hey, you know what? In a season full of shit, today was like a little like parting gift for us Bears fans. We get the #1 overall pick, thanks to Lovie Smith and the Texans, and we got to see the Detroit Lions take out the Packers' playoff chances, and possibly Aaron Rodgers being done. Not bad, boys. See you
bad
all in
day.
April or March.
I just want to say that thank you, Ted Phillips, for your so many years of service. Bye, Felicia.
Oh my
Like,
God.
we've been waiting for this moment for a long time, man. We've been wanting Teddy gone. Like, Teddy's
It
gone.
doesn't feel real.
Teddy's gone. We're going to get a new president of operations. Hopefully, this is the moment where they realize that they need to assign duties and not muddy the waters. And you got your businessman on one side, and you got your head of football as your GM. I'm hoping it goes that direction.
There you go.
At least this rebuild is including moving on from Ted Phillips. So this is
a true rebuild.
freedom.
And a
it's freedom
restructuring
from-
of the power structure up top.
Right, and a new mindset, and we get to actually see the difference, right? Finally, like,
Yeah.
we've been wanting Teddy going a long time. So
Long time.
a lot of W's today in the midst of a shitty season and a shitty game. I guess that's how I'm gonna wrap my my parting shots out.
I'm gonna wrap
And-
mine up with
And fuck the Packers. And
Fucking fuck.
I'm gonna wrap this up with it has been probably the toughest year watching as a Bears fan. I don't know if my level of apathy has ever been any higher, but to do this pod with you boys every week, you know, it's just been a pleasure, guys. It's so enjoyable talking to you guys. We are that pod, and Diddy's muting because he's probably farting right now, probably muting too.
No,
Boys, it's been a pleasure this year. It has. Thank you for commiserating with me all year about this terrible football team.
it's been a slog. We'll have to do some draft stuff and as we get going through it.
that's
sure.
a really good promo, Jared. That probably has people jumping out of their chairs. Probably got to do some drafts there.
Yeah, for you four
Tune in.
listeners, we will probably do a free agency show.
Yeah, Biscuits, take those nipple clips out from that last segue you brought to the table, bro. Like, yeah, wow.
Well, that's a
getting-
visual.
Someone's gonna get a good screen grab there.
Yeah, no, I just muted just because I didn't want to like cut you off, bro. Because
Oh.
it was getting really like moist in the joint. Like,
Man, hey, how do I mute him on this? How do I do that?
that was romantic, bro.
Yeah, I'm muting him. Yeah, boom. You've been muted for the use of the M word.
Moist?
I want to make sure that I unmuted him, and I think he stopped doing that.
I'm good. I'm back.
I tried
I'm
to
back.
keep unmuting you, and you kept remuting you.
Like on a normal day, I'm happy, so I'm not even gonna come back at Biscuits for actually muting me. The Padawan. Damn,
Yeah,
bro.
He's like,
Yeah,
oh, there's a
like-
mute button? Wow!
We should have never given you controls. Nah, that was nice, Biscuits. I feel like a little ice has melted off my heart tonight.
There you go.
Oh,
Well,
you
it's always a pleasure,
snarky
guys.
bastard.
Sometimes I just like hearing y'all talk, and sometimes I don't make a whole lot of sense. That's
What the
this
hell
show's
is
all
this,
about.
bro? You motherfuckers are breaking out eulogies in this bitch, bro. Like, go ahead.
It's fitting for a 3-14 season. It's fitting.
3-14, remember.
Lord.
Thank me later.
Listen, I'm just saying, we are that pod. You guys are
Motherfuckers
those,
acting like
those
it's
guys.
New Year's.
Who's
It's
on
New
fucking
Year's.
care?
Y'all drunk as fuck on New Year's, like toasting motherfuckers.
Hey, bro.
Like,
I love you, bro. I just want you to know
Bro,
that.
bro.
You're my bro.
I could. There this season, bro. I wanted not to do this. Like, how many times did I not want to do this fucking podcast, bro? So like,
See, there's
fuck all
18
you.
weeks.
I'm not gonna sit here and say. I'm so thankful to talk to you
18.
fucks every week. Like, I was struggling, bro. Like,
Oh, I
I'm not
know.
gonna lie.
Yeah,
Now we
but
got
at
hope.
least it's nice to have someone else to talk to it about who's not a total meatball like on social media. And
Oh,
it's,
bro, yeah, it's that was the worst losing streak we ever went through. So like, I'm just glad it at least ended in a positive
Yes.
note going into this
Exactly.
offseason. I'm
Correct.
I'm more
Smith-
fired up than I thought I would have been when I started seeing that score shift in that Indy game, bro. Like I was
Shocking-
like,
me too,
down
shockingly.
bad, bro. Like I was ready to say I don't want to do this. Like, do you know what I mean? Like hell, no,
Yeah.
I'm good. I'll talk to you in a few months when the combine.
Yeah.
Or
Lovie
something, you know what I mean? Like,
Smith did the clutch thing.
even though it's not a few months, but it's gonna feel like it.
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't feel like I was going to be that excited about it. And then towards the end of that Texans game when they were driving, I'm like, okay, now I'm definitely committed to wanting the pick.
I mean,
And
I
it
wanna-
does feel a little exciting now
I mean, I might have to make a trip for some of that Kansas City. Isn't it Kansas City? Some of that
in the
barbecue.
draft this year. Yeah.
Number one pick overall. I don't know though.
Barbecue
The
is
tailgate show
legit.
draft party.
I don't know if I want to deal with that
Saying.
crowd in my
Hey,
old
y'all,
age,
come
bro.
up to Indy. We'll do the
Combine.
combine.
Ooh, I might do that. Get me one of them pork sandwiches.
Yes.
I'm definitely not going to go to Hooters though if I go to Kansas
No.
City or Indiana.
Indianapolis doesn't have anything like that, bro. It's like,
Yeah, they do.
do they?
Dude, I think Hooters is everywhere.
I mean, do they have like good spots? Good spots though, like
Yes.
not like no, I'm not.
He just low-key shit all over Indiana.
That's all right. Everybody else does. It's not a big deal.
I'll talk to you off air about what I'm talking about.
Oh.
Slide into Pony's
I mean,
DM?
shit. That dude Butte from freaking LSU was just like
That was a
with his
wild story.
coach and like player administrators and shit. Bro was going to sex parties in Atlanta. Jer goes to Hooters. I'm like, Jer, bro, like single
Sorry.
dingle over here. Like, why didn't you go to one of them damn sex parties in Atlanta, bro? Shit. Hooters, bro. That's so like.
Or just go to a local Atlanta like hot
Oh,
seat.
Get
bro,
after that.
Hooters.
God damn.
Bro, the wings. Come on, man. Like
Bro,
any
did you even
city,
go to Magic City?
bro. City have. Like,
Did you even
bangs.
go to the game after you told me I'm gonna go to the game?
Because I realized I am
Jay, you
not
got a
spending
phone,
money
bro.
to travel and see this 3-14 poo team. And I'm
Justin
glad I did.
Fields was worth the price of admission.
Jer has a smartphone in his hand, and he couldn't just Google best wings in Atlanta. Like he went to Hooters, bro. Like no matter what city you're in, there's
It
banging
was
wing
right
joints.
next to
There's-
our
yeah,
hotel.
but it's about trying something that you can't have somewhere else.
Yeah,
That's
bro.
for me at least. That's how I see it.
God, I just drove 8 hours to get there.
Like when we went
Like,
to
I wanna
Pittsburgh, I
fucking
was
sit
determined
down.
to get a Primanti Bro sandwich. Even though locals said it was overrated, whatever, I still wanted to try that. I wasn't going to go to
I
a
wasn't
Subway.
waiting. The wait near us though, when I met up with Jer, was like what 2 hours, Jer, something
Yeah,
stupid. Like,
yeah.
Dude, we lucked out. We went to a couple different locations, and that wait was crazy. But
I wasn't waiting that long to get on a Disney ride to eat a sandwich.
All right, let's get this done. Let's wrap
All
it
right,
up.
well, that's just probably the last episode of the Tailgate Show for a while.
I don't know how I did that. I'm back.
Oh,
Okay.
All right, well, we're shutting it down, so say your
Duh, Trenton Gill, Rookie of the Year.
relax.
Yo, Trenton's season was so
couch.
dope, bro.
With us.
Hey, just remember who told you about Trenton Gill first. Your boy, Biscuits. Thank me tomorrow. Sneaky good punter. Leg extension.